Good afternoon. The question at hand is, why is contextualized preaching a vital skill in the 21st century? In 1983, the year that I was born, the population of the world sat at about 4.7 billion. Today, the population sits at about 7.3 billion. Now, despite the world growing at unprecedented rates and us being larger than ever, we're actually more connected than ever. Now, these aren't physical connections, but connections through the internet, through social media, through the cheap cost of transportation. We live in a connected world. We live in a globalized world. In June Kim, in Preaching in the Age of Globalization, one of the readings this week said the majority of Christian churches today have become urbanized and globalized. Their members live as social beings in a multiracial and multicultural society on a global scale, and their churches coexist with different ethnic, denominational, and religious communities' ties in close proximity. Because the reality is that even though that we are preaching to a specific group, and potentially that may be a very specific ethnicity, maybe a very specific cultural group, it may be a very specific group with a certain set of values, is that they're influenced from a lot of different things based on globalization, based on the way the world is today. So as a result of all this, mass communication has become the norm. And that communicating in order for it to apply to everyone has become the norm. So the art of pointed communication has become less and less common. Things are taken out of context and everything is about a soundbite. If I can get something just out of that 30 minutes that can get me that headline, then that's what I want to do. So Powell writes in What Do They Hear? Every communication must assume a certain target audience, and hearers who do not fit the assumed paradigm may respond in unanticipated ways. And that idea of a target audience is very important. In my line of work, we talk about weapons to target matching. And there are times where a 9mm handgun is the right weapon, and there are times when a 500 or 1,000-pound bomb off an F-18 is the right weapon. But you have to be able to assess what the target is before you decide what weapon to use. I love that the Word of God in Ephesians 6 is described as a sword of the Spirit. Because a sword is a close-in weapon. It's a precision weapon. It has to be in your hand for it to be effective, but it's a close-in and it's a precision weapon. The enemy uses flaming arrows, which could be flung from the safe haven of distance. But a sword is a close-in. A sword is precise, and it's used as pointed. And that's what we need to get to with contextualized preaching in the 21st century. Get beyond the mass communication, that's the norm, and get back to pointed communication.